Welcome everyone to the 2020 spring graduation ceremony of the Department of Integrative Physiology. We are part of history today, as this is the first virtual graduation ceremony our department has had. My name is Mark Opp, and it is my privilege to serve as chair of the department. I would like to begin by acknowledging all the hard work by those who organized and prepared this virtual ceremony, particularly Marcia Cook for leading the entire process, Brian Gordon for putting together all the video presentations, and Brandon Michieli for gathering and organizing all the slides from our graduating seniors. I also would like to acknowledge the rest of our IFI staff who worked so hard this year to support you, our graduating seniors. Hannah Bethke, Tricia Ward Brooks, Eric Helpney, Angie Jimenez, Jennifer Law, and Paula Yamashita. For many of us, the science of physiology is a mystery. To help demystify what your sons and daughters have been studying for the past 4 years, we now show you a short movie about the Department of Integrative Physiology.
How does the nervous system learn new movements? How do genes influence behaviors that impact our health? How do lifestyle and aging influence the heart and blood vessels? How can we optimize the performance of elite athletes? How does the nervous system modulate sex hormones and influence reproductive function? How does stress affect the immune system and our health? How do sleep problems affect our health and well-being? These are some of the questions that attract students and motivate faculty in the Department of Integrative Physiology at CU Boulder. Physiologists study organisms as functioning systems of molecules, cells, tissues, and organs. Our goal is to link observations on the individual systems to the function and behavior of the whole human body in health and disease. This interest in whole body function makes us unique among the life sciences programs here at CU. Over 30 faculty members direct research programs that contribute new knowledge about the physiological functions they study. The research laboratories also provide rich learning experiences for our undergraduate and graduate students, who are often included as co-authors on the 100 research publications written by the faculty each year. Several faculty members also have joint appointments in affiliated programs, including the Institute for Behavioral Genetics, the Center for Neuroscience on the CU Boulder campus, and clinical divisions at the CU Anschutz Medical Campus and at the Veterans Affairs Eastern Colorado Healthcare System. The Department of Integrative Physiology is the largest major in the College of Arts and Sciences. Majors take a sequence of lecture and laboratory courses that include anatomy and physiology, biomechanics, cell physiology, endocrinology, exercise physiology, immunology, neurophysiology, nutrition, physiological genetics, scientific writing, sleep physiology, and statistics. They also serve as teaching assistants in undergraduate courses, acquire research experiences in faculty laboratories, and earn academic credit for professional internships in off-campus clinical settings. Undergraduate majors completing the BA in Integrative Physiology enter a number of health-related professions. As doctors, nurses, physical therapists, physician's assistants, occupational therapists, dentists, and pharmacists, they share their physiological knowledge with their patients and clients. At the graduate level, IPhi offers Master of Science and PhD degrees. Most master's students develop a program of study that includes research training in faculty-directed laboratories in the department, whereas others complete the degree with coursework only. Approximately half the master's students use the degree to improve the probability of being admitted to a professional program. Most of the others enter a PhD program where they must demonstrate competence in research by completing a dissertation. Approximately half of the graduates from our doctoral program become the next generation of researchers in academia, and the others pursue opportunities in industry. Students and faculty depend on staff members who manage the day-to-day operations of the department. The staff coordinates academic programs, advises undergraduate students, oversees finances, human resources, and information technology, and supervises departmental property in 8 locations on the Boulder campus. Within the organizational body beats the heart of IPhi's core missions: answering important real-world questions of human biology, training students to keep asking questions and seeking answers, and sharing those answers with people who need them to lead healthy lives. This is Integrative Physiology at CU Boulder.
I hope everyone appreciated the movie and you now have a much better understanding of our department. IPhi graduates of 2020, I am sure that just a few months ago the word pandemic was not in your lexicon. Certainly none of us imagined that a pandemic would turn your senior year at CU upside down. Yet that is precisely what happened, and it is the reason we are all participating in a virtual ceremony rather than celebrating with family and friends on campus. I want to acknowledge the difficult transition from business as usual to remote teaching that began in March. None of us had the luxury of foreseeing such a global event and having years to plan. This unanticipated transition occurred rapidly, with little time to develop a strategy that would make it smoother. As faculty and staff, we understand how disruptive and disconcerting this transition has been for all our students, their parents, and families. This has been a particularly disruptive event for seniors who have looked forward to this day for 4 years. As faculty and staff, we also understand the uncertainty for many of you will continue as effects of COVID pandemic will persist. Despite a future that now looks very different than it did just a few months ago, I assure you, IPhi graduates of 2020, you have much to look forward to. During last year's graduation ceremony, I spoke of what it means to be part of the CU Boulder and IPhi communities. You may be thinking now that your CU Boulder campus community has been shattered, but this is not the case. Your classmates are an integral part of the community you established while in Boulder. Some of your classmates have become friends you will value the rest of your lives because of shared experiences, such as those of this semester. Classmates are members of your community that are bound by a fabric that is woven from emotional connections that did not exist before you arrived on campus. That fabric is strong today and will remain so in the future. Why should I-FI graduates of 2020 be looking forward? Obtaining an undergraduate degree is one of the biggest achievements in anyone's life. Your degree in integrative physiology opens doors not available just a few generations ago. As I-FI graduates, you are prepared to make meaningful contributions to health professions that encompass nursing, physical therapy, dentistry, medicine, and others. Serving in these professions benefits society, and as evidenced by current events, the need is great. I am so proud of the many I-FI seniors who, upon leaving campus in March, volunteered their time and effort to help those around them. Serving others while at the same time adjusting to a remote educational experience is truly commendable. The abrupt switch from traditional in-person instruction to remote learning is not the only transition you are making. This graduation ceremony marks the close of one chapter and the beginning of the next. There will be many chapters in the book of your lives, each one distinct and different from the previous. Chapters in your lives will encompass relationships, jobs, and careers, with transitions that are anticipated and planned and those that are not. At some point, you will realize that your life and career have not been defined by events that transpired during your last semester at CU. Rather, the events of this semester will be just one of many experiences that will shape your lives. Thank you. It is now our privilege as faculty to honor a group of students whose excellence extends outside the classroom. I-FI is known for its exceptional students who go beyond normal expectations and take advantage of the many opportunities for research and scholarly activities. One achievement of which CU Boulder students may be very proud is graduating with Latin honors. At many institutions, graduating with Latin honors requires sustained academic performance and maintaining a high GPA. To graduate with Latin honors from CU Boulder, an individual must maintain a minimum GPA of 3.3, but also conduct a research project, write a thesis, give an oral presentation of the research, and successfully defend that research. As such, graduating with Latin honors at CU Boulder is recognition not only of excellence in academic performance, but also in research or scholarly work. This year, 11 I-FI majors are graduating with Latin honors, 4 with grade honor of magna cum laude, which requires a minimum GPA of 3.5, and 7 with the highest honor of summa cum laude, which requires a minimum of a 3.8 GPA. We will now acknowledge these 11 I-FI graduates for their sustained efforts in completing an honors thesis and graduating with Latin honors.
Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Aaron Barth. Graduation with Latin honors, magna cum laude, awarded to Jackson Wolf Brill. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Amanda Nicole Brown. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Julia Lena Fontana. Graduation with Latin honors, magna cum laude, awarded to Mackenzie Nicole Hamilton. Graduation with Latin honors, magna cum laude, awarded to Patricia Eva Helbin. Graduation with Latin honors, magna cum laude, awarded to Cassandra Aileen Horton. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Catherine Mary Lucernoni. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Maureen Josephine McNamara. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Michaela Jana Camille Nasser. Graduation with Latin honors, summa cum laude, awarded to Dallas William Vanderhayden.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Professor Bob Mazzio, IFI Associate Chair of Graduate Affairs, who at this time will oversee the presentation of our graduate degrees.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Mazzio. As the Director of Graduate Studies for the Department of Integrative Physiology, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the master's and PhD candidates who will be awarded their degrees with us today. These young scientists have spent the past years at the University of Colorado working diligently to collect, analyze, and prepare their findings for publication in the appropriate scientific journals. In addition to these responsibilities, these students are required to take 30 hours of coursework, as well as serve as teaching assistants for the many undergraduate courses offered by our department. The department is extremely proud of the accomplishments of these men and women. As a result of this unique virtual graduation ceremony, we have asked the graduates to prepare a few slides briefly describing their research projects, and in some cases, these slides will be accompanied with the narration by their respective faculty mentors. We will begin by introducing those individuals who will be receiving their PhD degree today. We will then award the master's degree, and finally, we'll conclude with individuals receiving the dual degrees of both Bachelor's of Arts and Master's of Science. So let's begin.
Leah Ann Davis. Jesse Allen Goodrich. Akram Imam.
Akram Imam worked in my laboratory for the past 2.5 years. During this time, Akram was involved and contributed extensively to ongoing projects. For his master thesis, he implemented and developed novel metrics for behavioral phenotyping of diurnal rhythms, which were applied to a pilot study that compared 3 groups of participants: type 2 diabetes patients with or without a rare mutation in the melatonin receptor 2, which is involved in the regulation of circadian rhythms and metabolism, as well as healthy controls. We observed that patients with the rare mutation showed adverse circadian sleep and caloric intake phenotypes as compared to the other 2 groups, and thereby identified useful behavioral correlates that will be measured in future large-scale studies. Akram summarized these findings as first author in a draft manuscript, which will be submitted to Frontiers in Physiology shortly. Thank you for your great work and positivity, Akram. I wish you the very best for medical school.
Andrew Michael Lombardi. Jacob Harrison Morowick.
For his master's thesis, Jake used integrative bioinformatics tools to perform a cross-species analysis that identified and prioritized about 20 genes with evidence for involvement in risk for opioid use disorders.
Amy Louise Thomas.
Amy used a mouse genetic model combined with integrative bioinformatics tools to identify and prioritize genes involved in anxiety-related behaviors. This work resulted in submission of an original research manuscript to the journal Behavior Genetics, for which she is a co-first author.
Kristen Emily Klur.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Lowry here to say a few things about Kristen's project. Kristen, as you can see on the slide, was working on a strain of bacterium called Mycobacterium vaccae. The strain was discovered around the shores of Lake Kyoga in Uganda almost 50 years ago. And since that time, we've come to understand that this particular strain of bacterium that's found in the environment has the ability to prevent inappropriate inflammation in both animals and also the human body. And it's under investigation for potential use in both prevention and treatment of stress-related psychiatric disorders. Kristen's project was really focused on comparing this strain that was discovered in Uganda with the very closely related type strain, and was designed to evaluate whether this second strain of bacterium also had these stress resilience promoting properties. And working with her day-to-day mentor, Kelsey Lupi, they discovered that indeed that is the case. And this work, in my view, is really groundbreaking and brings us one step closer to someday having an intervention that we can use in humans to promote stress resilience and prevent stress-related psychiatric disorders like PTSD and depression. And kudos to Kristen. Fantastic job, and good luck with the next step. Thank you so much. Take care.
I am pleased at this time to introduce Ruth Heisler, our IFI Associate Chair of Undergraduate Affairs. Ruth will moderate the rest of our graduation ceremony.
Hello, my name is Ruth Heisler, and I am the Associate Chair of Undergraduate Affairs and a Senior Instructor in the Department of Integrative Physiology. I know many of you from the Human Anatomy lecture course, as well as the cadaver labs. I know you are all disappointed that we could not have an in-person graduation this year, and I am as well. It's my favorite part of the year, and I will definitely miss not being able to individually congratulate each of you. You are all so deserving of having your moment in the spotlight to celebrate this great accomplishment. We are going to start out by recognizing our highest GPA awardees. This semester, we have a three-way tie for the highest GPA. All of them are students who are also recipients of the Chancellor's Recognition Award, which is presented to those graduating seniors who have earned all A's throughout their college career. A very impressive accomplishment. Our first awardee is Caitlin Aline Jewell. Congratulations, Caitlin. Our next awardee is Michaela Jana Camille Naser. Congratulations, Michaela. And our final recipient is Riley Joe Price. Congratulations, Riley. You should all be very proud of this incredible accomplishment. Next, I want to introduce you to our incredible student speaker, Akram Imam. Akram completed his bachelor's degree in IFI and stayed on to complete his master's degree working in Dr. Celine Vedder's Circadian and Sleep Epidemiology Lab. He is a local Coloradan, having grown up in Aurora, and his hobbies include playing basketball, dancing, and hanging out with his friends. His favorite undergraduate class was exercise physiology because it really impressed on him how everything we do leads back to human physiology. His favorite graduate student experience was being a graduate TA for the human physiology labs because he loved being able to connect with all of the amazing IFI students. As Akram ends his chapter here at CU, a new one is opening up for him in Chicago, Illinois, where he will be attending the University of Illinois at Chicago Medical School in the fall. Thank you, Akram, for representing your peers in this graduation video.
Parents, friends, dignified guests, faculty, and class of 2020, I am honored to be the student speaker at this year's Integrated Physiology graduation ceremony. Today I want to share with you all two stories and just two stories. Growing up, every Sunday morning at around 7 a.m., my dad would wake my brother and me up to go for a run. It started when I was about 10 years old. It would happen every Sunday morning. I remember it as clear as day. He would have us run right next to him, and if we were to let up or stop, we were in trouble. No matter the situation, whether it be a weak knee, shin splints, or cramps, we had to keep on running. It was not fun. It was awful. However, in hindsight, I now generally understand the reasoning behind it. It was never about the running. What he was teaching us was to embrace being uncomfortable. IFI class of 2020, you have all welcomed and embraced being uncomfortable in one form or another, and that's the reason you're graduating today. Integrative physiology is one of the hardest majors on campus, which many of you guys can attest to. We are all too familiar spending countless hours at Norland, Ramley, or Claire Smalls on our third cup of coffee, and it's only 1 p.m. with multiple exams in a single week. From the smell of formaldehyde in the anatomy lab to the VO2 max test in exercise physiology, we've been through it all. And through it all, we are here as graduates. We did it. Why? Because we embraced being uncomfortable. It wasn't an easy journey. There are times where we failed, whether we didn't do so well on the exam or didn't land the internship we were hoping for, we failed. Ellen DeGeneres said, "It is failure that gives you perspective on success." And here's what she meant. Dr. Seuss's first book was rejected by 27 publishers. Dr. Seuss went on to be a well-renowned author. Sylvester Stallone pitched his idea for Rocky and got rejected 1,500 times. Rocky then became an American classic. Henry Ford went broke 5 times before founding Ford Motor Company. Until we embrace our failures, only then will we be able to conquer what we once thought were impossible. Because failure is the foundation for success. Here's my second story. When I started college, I struggled. I was hard-headed and I was stubborn. I wanted to do things on my own terms. I always thought no one wanted to really help you. They didn't want to take the time to do that, so I never sought out help. And it hurt. I struggled on exams and I was unable to land internships I was hoping for. It was a winter of my sophomore year, and I was emotionally drained from the failures. I remember calling my mom and we had a long conversation about what I needed to fix. I'll never forget what my mom told me at the end of the phone call. She said, "Akram, a single leaf alone provides no shade." Let me repeat that for you. A single leaf alone provides no shade. From that day on, my demeanor changed. I sought out a support system, and opportunities I once thought were unrealistic became a reality. I-FI class of 2020, everything you've gone through, everything you have accomplished was through the help of your support system. They provided the shade you needed, and today you're here as graduates. In my 6 years as an integrated physiology major, I can confidently say the student body is one of the kindest and most caring on campus. There's a camaraderie where we understand how much work and how much effort everyone is putting forth. Together, we helped provide the shade we desperately needed. Together, we graduated. But we can't take all the credit for this. I-FI faculty and staff are responsible for instilling a caring and transparent culture within the student body. From the countless hours they spent crafting the curriculum to the transparency and generous support they provided, they have enabled us to emulate this culture within the student body, and we thank you for that. As we start the next phases of our lives, some of you may have your dream job, and others may be working towards it, which is totally fine. All that I ask from you all is to do everything in your power to make your dream a reality. Some of you may be told to have a backup plan. I never understood the idea of a backup plan. Simply, a backup plan is there to soften your fall. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have that safety net. And I'll tell you why. If I fall, I want to fall hard. That way it's engraved in my mind how much it hurt when I hit rock bottom. That way I do everything humanly possible to make sure it doesn't happen again. I-FI class of 2020, if you have a dream, do everything humanly possible and in your power to make it a reality. Put all your effort in that first plan, and if you fall, fall hard. And I promise you, you won't make the same mistakes again. Class of 2020, today is your day. Do not undermine the accomplishments you have achieved. You have been able to overcome and embrace being uncomfortable, overcome failures, and most importantly, succeed. We created great memories we'll cherish throughout a lifetime. One last thing I ask from you all is to be true. Throughout your journey, be true to who you are and true to whom you'll become. Congratulations, class of 2020. You guys are off to doing great things, and God bless.
Thank you, Akram. We have finally reached the moment you have all been waiting for, the recognition of each of our very deserving graduates. As you watch this next portion of the ceremony, please remember this. Each of you are the heart of I-FI. Your accomplishments are our accomplishments. Whether you already have the next 5 years planned out or are still figuring out what you're going to do next, remember the skills you have developed here. You have learned so much more than just anatomy and physiology. You have learned grit and how to face challenges head on. You have developed scientific thinking and communication skills. You have learned how to use statistics to interpret data and explain that data. You have learned how to budget your time and work with others to complete a common task. Most importantly, you have learned that you are capable of finishing something you started, something big, and you should all be very proud of that accomplishment. Now more than ever, we need individuals like you going out to make a difference. So please stay in touch with I-FI. We want to continue to be part of your big accomplishments. With that, I congratulate each of you and keep an eye out for that diploma in the mail.
Shag Kamal Ahmed. Haley Christine Alexander. Madison Sue Baca. Catherine Stewart Bacon. Karina Elizabeth Ball. Madeline McLaren Barres. Maria Isabella Barrett. Avery Ann Bell. Hannah Jane Bennett. Abigail Elizabeth Blackwood. Kendall Alexandra Bobak. Harpy Talar Bokirion. Alice K. Bosley. Jackson Wolf Brill. Ellison Elizabeth Brooks. Amanda Nicole Brown. Jeremy Glenn Brown. Natalie Jane Butterfield. Kevin Aaron Butterman. Ford. Rosemary Claire Callahan. Amy Ann Campbell. William Carroll Kenty. Aaron Nicholas Carmichael. Rochelle Athanasia Charlie. Samantha Alexandra Daigle. Derek Anthony D'Amico. Jane Twee Dang. Evan Cassidy Davros. Casey Ray DiLorenzo. Skylie Marie Donaldson. Molly Elizabeth Dragon. Natalie Rose Duncan. Madeline Jane El-Jamal. Kaylee Marcella Evans. David Sehome Bang. Peyton Ray Fisher. Ruth E. Fissaha. Hayden Pierce Fight. Joya Lena Fontana. Sarah Elizabeth Fowle. Julia Mary Frondani. Tyler Junmei Fugate. Lauren Nicole Garlaw. Fallon Mary Garner. Molly Callahan Gogler. Aris Anis Guandi. Samuel Zachary Gendelman. Emily Elizabeth Gower. Cameron Tate Grolka. Francesca Soleil Guerrero. Adina Jewel Halzel. Mackenzie Nicole Hamilton. Hannah Elizabeth Hansen. Madeline Alexis Harrison. Leila Hassan. Tyler Jordan Hazel. Megan Pauline Handy. Emma Farrell Hess. Emily Abigail Hip. Brianna Taylor Hornberg. Cassandra Aileen Horton. Bacton Hua. Lindsay Ryan Humphrey. Natalie Catherine Imamura. Sarah Elizabeth Ingram. Hannah Elizabeth Jackson. Caitlin Mackenzie James. Caitlin Elene Jewell. Mark Adam Kaplan. Molly J. Kett. Morgan Alexandra Kind. Alexandra Jean Kinder. Nicholas Joseph DeMarco Koleski. Shri Hari Raghavendra Colt. Chelsea Hua Young. Mandy Susan Lee. Men Hee Leong. Catherine Mary Lucernoni. Sierra Lynn Ludwig. Heather Joy Buck Jamel Mahone. Brandon Michael Marquardt. Cassandra Marquez. Maya Jiang Donna Macumsey. Sydney Amber McDaniel. Megan Ann McGrew. Bailey Marie McLagan. Maureen Josephine McNamara. Savannah Michelle Minnow. Shauna Alyssa Montoya. John Michael Moore. Madeline Grace Moore. Natalie Aspen Morrissey. Noah Daniel Mostaller. Michaela Jana Camille Nasser. Andrew Jeffrey Newholfen. Judy T. Wynn. Caitlin Marie Nowak. Ali Wynn O'Donnell. Jasmine Faith Olives. Kate Anya O'Neill. Cole William John Ossian. Cody Michelle Osteen. Virginia Malone Owen. Anthony John Hartrick. Monet Patricia Percon. Eric Scott Potter. Riley Joe Price. Aisha Warya R. Rajagopal. Monique Ann Ransford. Maxwell James Reinke. Georgia Kowalczyk Rees. Vanessa Raquel Robles. Nicholas Michael Rodriguez. Sam Susan Roth. Lauren Marie Sandel. Morgan Jean Sauer. Catherine Eleanor Scanlon. Sydney Robin Schmelz. John Frederick Schutz. Jessica Rachel Schwartz. Nima Ariel Shokrani. Lindsay Hannah Silverman. Garrett Simonian. Geraldine Elizabeth Simons. Annalise Grace Small. Peter Joseph Starbuck. Nicholas Patrick Stash. Lauren Taylor Stearns. Austin Cole Stelnick. Samuel Thomas Strasburger. Elizabeth Stratton. Catherine Mabel Strabick. Ryan Anthony Strauss. Attila Suto. Owen Jeffrey Talmadge. Anjali Tamang. Paul Edward Thompson. Jasmine Malin Tran. Kendra Mei Trin. Christopher Robert Vehi. Dallas William Vanderhayden. Marshall Allen Alakai Van Gundy. Kelly Nicole Van Wert. Brianna Marie Vasak. Jonah K. Bess. Lauren Christina Viola. Joshua Hillel Vivier. Jaiwu Wang. Vindi Wang. Victoria Michelle Watanabe. Maddie Whedon. Barrett Allen Y. Alyssa Kaling Young. Rachel Christine Whipple. Allison Campbell White. Andy Lauren Wynn. Mason Nicole Wolf. To Mem Wanwusin Yaifu. Shui Jiang. Kelsey Jean Zuger.
Hello, IFI 2020 graduates. Heidi Bustamante here, coming in virtually. I want to wish you all a huge congratulations on your graduation. Although I don't get to personally shake your hand and give you a hug to give you those congratulations, I am virtually able to do that. I want you guys to know that although we cannot meet, it does not take away from all of your accomplishments and your hard work. At the end of the day, you're still going to get your University of Colorado diploma. you're still going to be an IFI graduate, and you will be a forever buff. I want you guys to know that as you head into your future endeavors, you can count on me for anything that you may need moving forward. Please reach out to me and please keep in touch. Again, congratulations on all of your accomplishments and for making it to this day. I wish you all the very best in your futures, and again, know that you can count on me if there's anything you need. I am very, very proud of all of you, and I wish you all the very best. Please take care of yourselves, stay safe, and take care of each other. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Hi, class of 2020. You have worked so hard and now have mastered the concept of negative feedback, at least in endocrinology. So what are you going to do next? Hopefully, celebrate really hard and enjoy the rest of this really special day. Congratulations to you all.
Hi, class of 2020. This is Dr. Foley. I just wanted to congratulate you for finishing your IFI degree. Such a huge accomplishment. I'm sorry we couldn't do this in person, but please come back and visit. We would all love to see you.
Well, this is Dr. Link here from his home studio, and I'd like to wish all the IFI graduates big congratulations. You succeeded with a situation with extra levels of difficulty, so you deserve a big shout out. In particular, I'd like to give my congratulations to the graduates of my cell physiology class. I hope your worm pickers never break. And all your expectations go as you would like. So again, congratulations and best of luck in your future careers.
Hello graduates, Dr. Staub here. I wish that I was able to deliver this message to you in person, but I want to congratulate each and every one of you on your huge accomplishment of graduating from CU as an IFI major. You've come a long way in the last several years, and it's been a journey with a bit of an unexpected ending, but I know that you will go on to do great things as you move on from CU. Take care of yourselves, and I hope that we cross paths again in the future.
Congratulations, IFI graduates.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tammy Maldonado. Integrative Physiology graduating class of 2020, congratulations. That you have reached this milestone is no accident. You know that college is hard work. It requires integrity, tenacity, sacrifices, and a belief in your career goals. I'm sure that there were times when it felt like a long and arduous road. And now, with that part of the journey behind you, I hope that you can reflect back on your educational career at CU with joy and that you're proud of your accomplishments. We certainly are proud of you. So do go out and celebrate your accomplishments with family and friends, and then take a deep breath, because there will be a day when this outbreak subsides and you have a new story to write. So as soon as you can, go out and do something wonderful. Congratulations to you and your family.
Hello, graduates. Congratulations. You made it to the end of the semester. Good luck.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Janet Casagrande of the Department of Integrative Physiology, wishing all of our graduates congratulations on this very special day, and also to your family and friends who are celebrating this happy day with you. Congratulations and best wishes.